Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 4 of the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship hosted by excitevirtualmotorsports.co.uk. My name is Sebastian Gerd and I will be your host tonight for those two races on the Watkins Glen International Circuit. It's the GP circuit without the inner loop, the very interesting chicane. This is left out for this event tonight. Apologies for the slight technical issues. In the first few seconds something wasn't set up properly, but everything's working fine, I hope so. I hope now we won't have any stuttering this time. I'm sorry for those technical issues, but I had no idea what's wrong. I tried now some small things and I hope they work. And we can completely concentrate on the race tonight. First of all, of course, we are looking at the current standings, and well, Cliff van der Wien is leading with 588 points ahead of Dan Blake, and Cliff van der Wien currently has 5 wins after 6 races. So that's definitely a proper position, leading the championship. And well, I think everyone is hoping that someone else might be quicker tonight, so we will have a very interesting championship for the next few races. Not Cliff van der Wien like winning a few events before the end. Matt Powney very close to Dan Blake, 2 points behind, 504. Chris Bourne in 4th with 482, only 8 points ahead of Thorsten Berger, and the German driver only 2 points ahead of Morten Wels. So everything very close behind Cliff van der Wien. Then there's Antonis Papadopoulos, 455 points, just 7 points ahead of his Greek companion Nikos Papamikael. Gavin Utley in 9th with 372. Then there's Mike Tanti with 312, getting up into the top 10, and positions 11 down to 20. Martin Ash, Zendro Zara, Brian Larson, Rick Fowler, Darius Seabright in 15th. Then there's Darren Booten, Nick Curry, Chris Wilson, Arnold Petkowski, and then Dimitar Yanev. And I think we will see some new drivers tonight who might get a chance to get up into the top 20 after the 2 races here in Watkins Glen. Currently, there's Matt Powney with the fastest lap during practice session, so Cliff van der Wien only in 3rd, but that's that doesn't count. What happens in practice is not important. Everything depends on the qualifying. And now we're with Thorsten Berger, only 1/10 of a second slower than Matt Powney. There's a lot of when it comes to the quickest lap, you have to depend a lot on the slipstream on this track. Very, very fast track. And there's some parts of it where you just like racing in the slipstream. It would even be more interesting if we had the short circuit, but we are driving on the GP circuit without the inner loop. It's 3.377 miles long, 5.435 kilometers, so pretty long track actually for those Formula 3 cars. Nikos Papamikael, 2/10 of a second slower than Matt Powney. So not that much of a difference when it comes to the lap times during practice. Looks like we started a bit late, so it's still 15 minutes to go until we are starting with the qualification session. Drivers still have a lot of time to practice a bit more, and we will take a look at one driver we haven't seen so far in this championship, and that's Derek Rupp. Just stopped his car. I think we are somewhere up to the back straight, somewhere in the S's. It's hard to see at this position. Derek Rupp, and he left the server, so I hope he will come back and to show us his performance. Gavin Utley, 2.1 second behind Matt Powney. That's quite a lot. That's surprising, because Gavin Utley did a very decent job in the second race in Daytona. First race he didn't finish, but he finished in 11th place, so there might be still some more time to find for Gavin Utley. Behind him, that should be Dan Blake, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Didn't set a proper lap so far. I didn't have a proper lap time so far. And I think we should take a look on this very interesting and more or less well-known track from the US. Heading to the first corner. Slight banking. And you have to be very careful not to get too wide, because then you hit the curb and the car is getting very, very loose. Up through the S's. High speed combination, and he's picking up some slipstream from Gavin Utley. And usually we would come up to the inner loop, but this time we are driving without, we used the track configuration without it, so it's a full speed into the outer loop and then through Chute. Very difficult left-hander. Takes a bit longer until you can hit the throttle again, so you have to be very careful not to go too wide. Then use some of the better grip on this concrete plates in the toe in corner number 7, and then we're coming down to heel. Maybe braking one of the slowest corners on the track. Then coming up to turn number 9. Very, very tricky corner, because you can easily hit the wall on the outside. Then through turn 10, very, very fast corner, much faster than it looks. And the final corner, turn 11. Just some slight downshifting, and then it's all full attack again along the start-finish straight. And Dan Blake with a decent lap time up to 10th position. Something's a bit wrong with our information overlay on the down right side, because Dan Blake has shown us with 8th position, but what's on the left side on the tower, that's what's right and not the number you can see down there at the information overlay with his name. 10 minutes left. Gavin Utley now seen behind Dan Blake. There's Brian Larson. Had a very good or two very good races on the Daytona road course, finished in 2nd and 4th. And then Thorsten Berger. He lost the lead in the 2nd race in the very last lap against Cliff van der Wien, and that got Cliff van der Wien another double victory in this championship. And I think Thorsten Berger was quite frustrated after this evening. There was just no way for him to defend against the Dutchman. Maybe this time he will be more lucky. This will depend on the qualification, of course, but on the other hand, there will be the reversed grid for race number 2. Who doesn't know the, let's say, facts about this championship? There will be 2 races. 15-minute races, so very, very short. And after the first race, the entire grid will be reversed, so who finished last will start first in race number 2. And that usually showed us some very interesting action. because there are the slow drivers in front and the fast drivers somehow have to find a way past them, and not everyone is letting them pass easily. So sometimes there are drivers that are about a second faster per lap, but the other driver in front just enjoys fighting with them and makes it sometimes hard for the fast drivers to get back in front. Matt Powney is somewhere standing offside the track, as well as Darren Booton. So every time you see the initials on the left in yellow, that means the car is standing somewhere and not standing in the pits. Then there's the P behind the name, like with Morten Wells. It's pretty quick in practice, currently 5th position. Quicker than Brian Larson now. Chris Bourne on the track. There will be a 15-minute qualification session. So it will be a short evening again, 15-minute qualification, 2 races, 15 minutes each, and that's it for tonight. The decision was made after the first race in Silverstone, where they set it up to 15 laps instead of 15 minutes. And that caused an issue with the fuel consumption, because everyone had to go into the pits after 14 laps. Because everyone is using a fixed setup, so you can't change anything on the car. Nothing, can't do anything to the wings, to the gear ratios, tires, nothing. It all depends on the driver and not on what you do to your car, what kind of changes you do, because you can't. There's Stamatis Triantafylou. We haven't seen him since the first race in Silverstone, so nice to see that he's back. But again, there are not all of the 3 Greek drivers in participating tonight, because obviously Antonis Papagenopoulos isn't with us tonight. I don't have any information who won't be coming tonight. So it's Stamatis Triantafylou and Nikos Papamikael. Had a very mixed result in Daytona. Oh, and that's one of the classic mistakes in Watkins Glen, when you're getting out of turn 9 too quick, you hit the wall on the outside. I think we will see this quite often during the race and probably during the qualification as well. Yeah, what I wanted to say, Nikos Papamikael had a mixed result in Daytona, finished in 7th and then in 18th position. Derek Robb, a driver we haven't seen in this championship so far, now up to 13th. So he's getting quicker and quicker. We'll see what he can do during the qualifying. And there is actually Antonis Papagenopoulos. He didn't show up in the list for a moment. Now there is. So all the three Greek drivers are with us. Brian Larson disconnecting from the server for unknown reasons, but I think he will be back just in a few seconds. Maybe doing some changes to his graphics settings. I don't know. Oh. More and more drivers showing up. So Martin Ash now on the server as well. Sandro Zara parked his car alongside, is it the back straight? I'm not sure. No. Standing just in front of the second to last corner. They received right. Had a decent first race in Daytona, finished in 5th, but then had some trouble in the second race. Maybe he will have better luck tonight, and I think someone just joined me on the channel, but that seemed to be a mistake. Oh. Now almost everyone in the pits. And who is it in the 19th? That's Kieran Mullock. We haven't seen him in Daytona, but nice to see him now here in Watkins Glen. And Thorsten Berger, just a few minutes before the end of this practice session, sets the new fastest lap on the server, 1:43.255, almost a tenth of a second faster than Matt Powney. So maybe there will be a chance to take a first victory here in this Formula 3 championship for Thorsten Berger, but he will have to show that kind of performance in the qualifying, which will start in the next few seconds. I hope so. Sometimes we have to wait until everyone parked his car in the pits, and this sometimes takes a while, because some drivers try to drive as long as they can in the practice sessions. Kieran Mullock in front of Dan Blake. And that's what I was talking about earlier about the slipstream. Dan Blake drafting behind Kieran Mullock, and then there's an easy pass for him in the outer loop. 20 drivers, so it's very packed for this race tonight. So Watkins Glen, a great track for a bigger field of cars. Slight mistake by Kieran Mullock here. Into the toe corner. 180 degrees right-hander. And that's a bad place to stop your car, because that's right after this slight hill. So no one will see him. Not a big problem now, but it would be a problem during the race, or maybe during the qualifying, which starts now. You can see it, still 45 seconds to wait until everyone is allowed to leave the pits to set their fastest lap and to get as high as possible for the starting grid. So that's what I was talking about. Still missing this one because of those slight issues at the start of the stream. So now everyone is underway for this qualification. Darren Boulton still waiting in the pits, and this should be Daryl Seabright. Oh, I hope to get him somewhere in our camera view. Daryl Seabright should still be behind, and this is now Chris Bourne moving up the ESs for the first time during the qualifying, but this is still his outlap, of course. It looks like he's going a bit slow to avoid traffic during his first hot lap. There's some slight issues with his connection because you can see the car is moving without him turning the wheels. That's a slight problem, I think, with his connection. Hopefully not ours. No. Car movement of Gavin Utley looks fine. It should be Nikos Papamikael in front of him. No, that's Thorsten Berger with those small red applications, and then there's Nikos Papamikael. But we will stay with Gavin Utley for his first fast lap during the qualifying. If there are any issues, maybe sound or anything else, just write it down in the YouTube chat. I'm, of course, looking into it from time to time. So if there are any questions or any problems, just write it down in the YouTube chat and then I will check if I can fix it. So Gavin Utley getting a bit of slipstream from Nikos Papamikael, just a tiny bit on board with Gavin Utley. Very interesting paint job on his car in his classic style, the orange and light blue colors, reminding of a lot of classic cars from the 50s, 60s and 70s. So now I got it. Papamikael going very, very wide. Gavin Utley as well. Now we're coming up to the heel, turn number 8. It's much more difficult to find the ideal racing line in these turns than it looks like. And this one is easy. And this one as well, but the whole complex called the boot is pretty difficult. And where's Gavin Utley? Oh, that doesn't look very good. 7th position, so there was, I think, a mistake in the very first corner, maybe. And Dan Blake with a 1:43.818 currently on pole position. But I don't think it will stay like this for a long time. I wonder where the championship leader is. Cliff van der Wien. This Brian Larson. Very, very slow. Looks like it's still his outlap. And Cliff van der Wien now up to second. Only 55 thousandths of a second behind Dan Blake. And we are with John Loudon, but he is also obviously on his outlap because there are already more than 2 minutes passed. Rick Fowler. He's on a hot lap. Followed by Martin Wells, if I'm not mistaken. Wells currently in 4th position. And already 5 minutes gone in this very short qualifying. So where will Rick Fowler show up after this lap? It looks like a 146, no, 145, and he stays in 11th. Mark Harris seemed to have some trouble, and there is Stamatis Triantafylou, now up to 6th place, which would mean the 3rd row in the starting grid. So that would be a very good comeback for him after leaving out the races in Poznan as well as the Daytona road course. Matt Powney on pole position now, and he was in 2nd during the practice, so he is very, very fast on this track. Brian Larson now in 2nd, Blake down to 3rd, Cliff van der Wien in 4th, Thorsten Berger now in 5th place, and who's that behind Powney? That's not Morten Wells. Oh, and there's Thorsten Berger in the way of Morten Wells, and that should be it for his next hot lap. Antonis Papadopoulos right behind Morten Wells. And Nick Curry is back on the server. Antonis Papadopoulos enters the pits. So we take a look at Mark Harris, just passing Stamatis Triantafylou. Gavin Utley up to 14th. Mark Harris stays in 10th position. Chris Wilson just crossed the start-finish line as well and still is in 15th place. Matt Powney stopped somewhere alongside the track, but he's also now in the pits. So we'll take a look at our championship leader, Cliff van der Wien. And I just got the information that my mouse was in the picture. Thanks for the information. Missed that one. So hopefully now you won't see it anymore. Cliff van der Wien still in 4th. Dan Blake now very, very close to the fastest lap time of Matt Powney. Darren Boulton in 7th position. So very good lap time for the man in the black and green car. There's a huge gap between Brian Larson, very close to Dan Blake, and Matt Powney down to Cliff van der Wien. He's 2.5 tenths of a second behind the first 3 drivers currently. And it's not getting much better for the drivers behind him. Big difference. A surprisingly big difference. But maybe that's because the track is much longer than the other ones we had seen in the races so far. Silverstone was also quite long, but Poznan as well as the Daytona road course, they were shorter, or when it comes to Daytona, especially much quicker because of the huge oval part. And all the high speeds, of course, kept the lap times down. Cliff Van der Wien improved his lap time, but still in 4th position. Very interesting between Morten Wells and Darren Booten. It's only 0.005 of a second. Wells just behind Thorsten Berger at the moment. The black and red car of the German driver. He's currently in 5th, but slowing down now. Maybe he will give it another try now after he exits the last corner. Morten Wells stays in 6th, still ahead of Darren Booten, but improved the gap about 2.5 of a second now to Darren Booten, so he's a bit more safe on this 6th position at the moment. Mark Harris was up to 9th, only 0.005 of a second behind Chris Bourne and 0.004 of a second ahead of Stamatis Triantafiylou, and then it's again 0.008 of a second to Nikos Papamikael. So this is a very interesting group: Chris Bourne, Mark Harris, Stamatis Triantafiylou and Nikos Papamikael. But now Chris Bourne up to 8th position, made it past Darren Booten. And this time Cliff Van der Wien seems not to find a way past these first 3 guys in the qualifying: Matt Powney, Dan Blake and Brian Larson. But if you remember Daytona, Cliff Van der Wien started from last position in the 2nd race and won and took a victory. So it could be a lot different during the race. Further back in the field, there's Derry Seabright in 13th. Let's see. Some better performances by him already. And Derek Robb is back on the server in 16th position. Mark Harris passing Darren Booten. So now Booten is down to 10th. Mark Harris just 0.002 of a second behind Chris Bourne. And there is Antonis Papagiannopoulos now up to 4th. And that puts Cliff Van der Wien down to the 3rd row in the starting grid. Definitely not what the Dutchman wanted for this race tonight, but he still has one more shot. But there's no other car right in front of him, so no slipstream for him. No chance to improve his lap time by drafting behind another car. And Booten strikes back up to 7th. And now he's almost 0.4 of a second behind Thorsten Berger. I don't think Booten will get further up in the starting grid, but 7th position, pretty decent place for him. And the Purple car, Rick Fowler. Hard to miss that one. He's currently in 15th. Take a look at him. He's in front of Van der Veen anyway. Sadly, we can't see any sector lap times, so it's hard to tell if he is quicker this time. About a 120 between turn 8 and 9, I think is okay. But now, slight mistake out of turn 9. Brian Larson in the pits. Antonis Papagenopoulos stopped the car somewhere alongside the track, and Rick Fowler entering the pits, so that's been it. And what about Cliff Van der Veen? No, he stays in 5th. But still a lot of drivers out on the track. So Thorsten Berger giving it another try. Just entering the boot through chute corner. That long left-hander coming up to toe. Dan Blake closed the gap to Matt Powney down to 30 thousandths of a second, but that's still not enough. Powney stopped the car, so he won't have any more chances to improve it. And that's been it with our qualification for race number 1. 50 minutes for this field 20 cars. At least it should be. Now it's 21 actually. And Matt Powney will start from the front. He will lead into the first race, but if you know the track, if you know Watkins Glen, there could be a lot of trouble in turn number 1 because it has a lot of banking, so you can take it very fast, but if you take it too fast, you're like jumping out of it. And if you're on the inside line, you're jumping into someone else, and I hope this won't happen tonight. I'll take a look on the car of the pole sitter, so that's Matt Powney. Strange camera position. Sorry for that. I think it's the first time that Powney takes the pole and then Blake in second. So finally something new here in the Formula 3 Championship. We can see the lights. So will they go on? Now 6 lights will go on, and when they are off, we are racing for race number 1. We are off. Just putting the car back into the pits, and Matt Powney with a pretty good start. Dan Blake in trouble. Already fighting for second, and there's a very, very good start from Morten Welts, but he's on the inside, jumping through the grass, and somehow he avoids any contact. Morten Welts, great start, but now down to 6th position. Matt Powney ahead of Dan Blake. Blake got lucky. No chance for Brian Larson to do anything, and Cliff Van der Veen already in 3rd. How the hell did he do that? Behind him, some fighting between Boulton, and then there's Welts. Welts now passing on the inside. There's Thorsten Berger, but Cliff Van der Veen out of the slipstream into the outer loop. He's on the outside, almost hit by Dan Blake. Oh, that was close. And Cliff Van der Veen up to 2nd. So the championship leader already close behind Matt Powney. Dan Blake behind him. Then there's Brian Larson. Morten Welts in 5th. Darren Boulton in 6th. And he goes very, very wide. Nikos Papamikael, the white and blue car. And then there's Thorsten Berger, black and red car with the German driver. He's on the inside through toe, and now they're coming up to turn number 8. On the left side, that's Papadopoulos. Hard under braking. Dan Bruton left the door open just a bit, but no way for the Greek driver to make a move against him. Pony already under pressure from Cliff Van der Wien, and there's Dan Blake behind Brian Larson. Brian Larson made a pass, and there is trouble for Papadopoulos, dropping down to 16th. But what is Cliff Van der Wien doing in front against Matt Powney? Fighting for the lead already on board with the Dutch driver, the championship leader. And now through the S's. Powney on the curb, almost lost the car, and now it's Powney in the slipstream, so maybe he can make a counter attack on the outside through the outer loop, almost touching, while Dan Blake is making a move against Brian Larson. That's what you see very often here in Watkins Glen, getting closer to this outer loop corner, this with a very steep banking, so you can take it very fast. Cliff Van der Wien stays in front of Matt Powney, and obviously history repeats itself again. Cliff Van der Wien leading another race, and we are only 3 minutes past. Darcy Bright getting up into 11th, but I will make a try to make a small change. Don't know why this didn't work out. Nope, didn't want this one. That's something for another time. We will stay with our overview we have at the moment. Everyone is setting a new personal best. Derek Robb moving up to 15th, passing Zangozara. And Matisse driver only in 16th. We've already seen him a bit faster during the season. And now it's Matt Powney out of the slipstream against Cliff Van der Wien. And I think Powney will have a chance to make the move. He's on the outside, but he has to leave the door open for Cliff Van der Wien. Matt Powney takes back the lead from Cliff Van der Wien. Brian Larson 1 second behind, and then Dan Blake about 0.6 of a second, but there comes a move by Cliff Van der Wien. Oh, that was a bit of a surprise, and I think Matt Powney was surprised as well. It's just impressive how fast Cliff Van der Wien is. That move on the inside during toe corner. Usually you're way too fast, and he usually should have gone too wide, but he didn't. Anyway, that got Brian Larson close to the back of Matt Powney. Powney already defending on the inside into turn 1, and then Brian Larson on the better line coming out. Now through the S's against Matt Powney, and Brian Larson takes second position from the post sitter. And now there's Dan Blake also behind the two. And if you remember Daytona, Dan Blake made an impressive move in the on the first corner, passing two drivers, but this time it doesn't work here in Watkins Glen. And Matt Powney takes back second position. So very interesting fight, and probably you can actually be in a better position if you are behind someone in the final lap. So you can make a move out of the slipstream, take the position from the other driver, and then you don't have to worry about another attack out of the slipstream again in the next lap. So maybe there will even be some tactical driving by these guys, but at the moment still 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go. I don't think currently they are thinking about anything except fighting for the best position. Mark Harris sadly in the pits for unknown reasons. Van der Wien again trying to shake Matt Powney out of the slipstream. And he starts to increase the gap slightly against Powney. So I don't think Powney will have a chance to make a move against Cliff Van der Wien now. Nope. He was too far behind out of the S's, so no way for Matt Powney to try to get back into the lead. Half of the race is already over. Still, Cliff Van der Wien has to be careful not to make any mistakes. While there's some trouble for Darren Boulton, he dropped down to 12th position, as well as Derek Rupp. Lost the place against Nick Curry on 13th and 14th. But sadly for those guys, we have to stay in front because this is a fight for the entire podium. Because every time Blake and Powney start to fight, the others are in the way to attack. And now there is the mistake by Cliff Van der Wien. I don't think he got a touch by Powney. Just a slight mistake. The car got loose and he, well, almost flew into the wall, so there should be very heavy damage to this car. I don't think Cliff Van der Wien will have a chance to get back into the lead, but maybe still get some positions from the others. Now behind the Greek driver, Stamatis Triantafylou, almost hitting him in the back through the S's. Seem to be quite surprised. Again, out of the slipstream, he's on the outside line through the outer loop. But you can see, obviously, the car isn't moving as it should be. Almost losing the back again. And Triantafylou defending very well. But slight mistake by Triantafylou, and he goes off the track into the grass and even hits the wall. Maybe some more slowing down would have helped. There's something wrong, or maybe it's very hard to get the car back on track. Oh, and almost crashing into Martin Ash. He's currently in 18th position. Very sad. Triantafylou was in 7th and now he's down. And Matt Powney takes back the lead from Brian Larson. We are back in front with the first three drivers, Powney, Larson and Blake. Powney started from first, Larson from third and Blake from second position into this race. And there's Brian Larson with another attack in turn one, and he goes wide, and that's the chance for Dan Blake to take back second place. And now he's behind Powney, and there's a bigger problem for Brian Larson. Obviously he spun out after going wide in turn one. And now Martin Wells in third, then Thorsten Berger in fourth, Nikos Papamikael in fifth, and Cliff Van der Wien takes back another position, now up to sixth place. Gavin Utley in eighth. And there's Chris Wilson in 9th place. You can see him in the back. Now there's Gavin Utley trying to make a move on the outside. And he takes 7th place from Brian Larson. Pretty good move actually by Gavin Utley. Chris Bourne up to 14th. There seems to be a problem for Bolton and Loden down to 15th and 16th. But we are going again back to the leaders. Now it's only 2 drivers remaining after the mistake of Brian Larson. Dan Blake and Matt Powney fighting for the lead. Still 3 minutes to go. On board with Dan Blake. Could be his best result if he finishes in 2nd. Finished in 6th twice in Daytona. Showed a very good performance. Now looking for a decent podium position behind Matt Powney. Powney seems to be a bit quicker through the slower parts of the track. So no way for Dan Blake to make another move. Maybe Blake now will drive a bit more careful, just saving this 2nd position rather than driving too fast and throw it all away. Brian Larson using 6th position against Cliff Van de Veen. That's just impressive. Cliff Van de Veen, who hit the wall really hard with the back of his car, still going. You can't see any damage on the cars. There's no visualization of the damage. So this car is definitely not in its best condition. And that's why Brian Larson takes back 6th position from Cliff Van de Veen, but throws it away just in the next corner. Brian Larson going off again. There's Stamatis. No, that's Chris Wilson passing him. Then Darius Seabright up to 9th, and we have Nick Curry behind him now. Maybe Nick Curry going for the top 10, followed by Derek Robb. And he might also still have a chance to get into the top 10 in his first appearance here in the Formula 3 Championship of Exiled Virtual Motorsports. Final lap for Matt Powney and Dan Blake. And Dan Blake closed the gap, well, at least for about 1/10 of a second. And Matt Powney still has to be careful. Just a few miles away from his first victory. Now, to be honest, his second victory actually. He won one race in Tor Poznan. That was the only victory so far in this series not taken by Cliff Van de Veen. So maybe Matt Powney takes his second victory in the series, but he still has to be careful. There's Dan Blake. He closed the gap, but we're coming up for the final corner, and I think Matt Powney wins race number 1 in Watkins Glen. Congratulations! He started from pole, he lost the position against Cliff Van de Veen for a few moments, and now he takes the victory. Dan Blake in second, Morten Wells in third. Very good job by the Danish driver. Thorsten Berger in 4th. Then there's Nikos Papamikael, he parked his car already. Cliff Van de Veen in 6th, so he at least saved some points in this race. Gavin Utley in 7th. Chris Wilson finished in 8th. Then there's Brian Larson, he will be quite frustrated, but it was his own mistake, so he can only blame himself for throwing away a podium. Darius Seabright in 10th, then there's Nick Curry in 11th, ahead of Derek Robb. Rick Fowler in 13th, Darren Booten 14th position, Sandro Zara in 15th, John Loden 16th, Martin Ash after slight problems at the start in 17th, as well as Chris Bourne in 18th. Antonis Papagiannopoulos only 19th. Then there's Stamatis Triantafylou. He ran off the track and he still didn't cross the finish line, so that's because that's why it looks a bit strange. Why you can see pit instead of just the entire name. And Mark Harris, last one, finishing the race in 21st position. He was in the pits for quite a while, so that's why he's in 21st. He will start from 1st in race number 2. I think is he thinking that he still has to drive 7 more laps? I don't think so. So this will be a tough job for Matt Powney in race number 2, starting from last position. And he has some really, really fast guys ahead of him. Blake, Welsberger, Papamikael. And we already close to switch into our second race session. There's Dan Blake coming into the pits. I think most of the drivers now parked their cars. Not sure if the fact that Triantafylou didn't cross the finish line might cause a little delay. We'll find out. So here we go. No such thing as a break. 1 minute countdown, and then we will already start with race number 2. So it's all going very, very quick. Another 50 minutes and a reversed grid. So there will be Mark Harris starting from pole. Stamatis Triantafylou alongside him, then Antonis Papagiannopoulos, Chris Bourne should be the first 2 rows in the grid. Martin Ash from 5th, John Loden from 6th. So there are actually some very not so slow drivers in the places up in front for the start of the second race. Now we have to wait again for a start of race number 2. So Mark Harris, actually the driver who will start in front, and obviously Stamatis Triantafylou has to start from the back because he didn't finish the race properly. So it will be Antonis Papagiannopoulos starting from 2nd. Then Chris Bourne and then Martin Ash. Lights are on. And for the second time tonight, we are racing. And again, just a short switch down into the pits, and here we are. Mark Harris with a good start, but there's already the attack by Papagenopoulos very late on the brakes into turn 1, but a good move by the Greek driver. Oh, there's Darren Boulton going off, crashing into Brian Larson, so there is a crash in turn 1. Martin Ash already defending against Chris Bourne, chased by Sandro Zara in the white and red car. There's Thorsten Berger. No, that's not Thorsten Berger, that's John Loden, sorry. The black and red car. That would be a big surprise. Berger in 15th at the moment, or Chris Bourne into the grass, and there's a big crash, and whoa, is everyone getting through? No, big one on the back straight, and there's a lot of drivers involved. Van der Veen crashed into Blake, is hit, as well as, whoa, that was a big one. So Chris Bourne was on the grass, and then Martin Ash hit him. Ash spun around into the field, hitting Triantafylou, and he was spinning all over the track. Nikos Papamikael in the pits, as well as Darren Boulton. Oh, and this crash mixed up a lot of things in this race. Cliff Van der Veen into the pits, already back out on track in 19th position. So that was a heavy impact for Cliff Van der Veen, and I think we won't see a victory by Cliff Van der Veen tonight. So at least this crash caused some changes maybe of what we will see now in the next 13 minutes of this second race. Mark Harris still in the lead ahead of Antonis Papagenopoulos. John Loden in third. Then there's Matt Powney, the winner of race number 1 in fourth. What an impressive job by Matt Powney. He somehow made his way through the big crash on the back straight, and now he's already in fourth, ahead of Rick Fowler. Martin Ash in sixth. Somehow Ash made it through after he got hit by Chris Bourne, even though I think it was more like Ash's own mistake. Well, there will be a lot of discussions after this one. Vels in the pits, as well as Nick Curry. They both were involved in this accident as well. And Powney already attacking John Loden. Not much of a surprise. Powney was the quickest driver on the track. Gavin Utley somewhere parking his car alongside the track. He's 17th. Cliff Van der Veen is 16th. I think both of them will pass Curry and Seabright, who's also in the pits. Holy moly, that was a big one. So now Matt Powney trying to find a way past John Loden. Of course, John Loden knows who he's dealing with. Chris Bourne left the server, so the car obviously damaged too heavily. No way for Bourne to continue in this race. And dropping down. Stamatis Triantafylou still in the pits, obviously still repairing, as well as Utley, Boulden and Papamikael. Mark Harris with the fastest lap actually, but I think Powney just has beaten him to that with a 1:44.3. Dan Blake already back in 8th position, and he had had some trouble during the start. Brian Larson in 12th, and he had an accident with Boulton, but Larson still going 8 seconds behind Derek Robb, who might have a chance to finish in the top 10. And he's 2.5 seconds behind Thorsten Berger. We are back in front with Mark Harris and Antonis Papagenopoulos, who might have a chance to grab a podium again. Finished in 3rd in the second race in Daytona, so things are looking good for him tonight as well. But again, it would be a mixed result. Finished in 19th in race number 1. So that's actually what got him up in the grid for race number 2. About 9.5 minutes to go. And I think the second victory in this race will be fought between Harris, Paparinopoulos and Pawnee. Matt Pawnee, the only driver looking for a second podium tonight. Dan Blake closing into Sandro Zara. Let's take a short look to position 7 and 8. We are on board with Dan Blake, already in the slipstream of the Maltese driver. Blake had to lift off for a second because Zara was slow out of the outer loop. And that's Martin Ash ahead. Oh, mistake by Sandro Zara. Went very wide in tow, and that means Dan Blake almost ahead of Sandro Zara. And now he is ahead of Sandro Zara up to 7th position. It's still under attack. Maybe there will be a change by Sandro Zara. No. And now Blake looking forward to Martin Ash. But that should be it, because Ash is about 6 seconds behind Rick Fowler. If he finishes in 5th, he might have his best result in this championship so far. Not to mention John Loden. We haven't seen him rarely in the top 10. Now he's in 4th position, and it doesn't look like Rick Fowler can close the gap. That means a lot of points for John Loden, and we know that it's it's very close in the championship. Further back in the field, Thorsten Berger now ahead of Chris Wilson in 9th, but we are again back in front because Paparinopoulos now very close behind Mark Harris. When will the Greek driver make a move for the lead? That's what Matt Pawnee is looking for. These two guys fighting against each other, because that would slow them down. Problems by Mark Harris. Almost spun out, hit the wall, and Paparinopoulos ahead now of Mark Harris. Pawnee also gets through up to 2nd, and now it's between the Greek driver and Matt Pawnee. On board with the first race winner. Paparinopoulos going very wide in turn number 1. Now Matt Pawnee in the slipstream of Antonis Paparinopoulos. And I think we will make a move on the outside. But we make a pass against Paparinopoulos. Looking good. Still alongside him, and now Matt Pawnee is through. Again in the lead in the second race. 5 minutes to go, and Matt Pawnee leading again and looking for a double victory in Watkins Glen. If Cliff van der Wien with the fastest lap, but he's in 14th, and I don't think he will have a chance to reach Morten Wells, because Morten Wells did a very decent job in race number 1. They all got involved in the big one on the back straight. Atle 1 lap down, Boulton 5 laps. Nikos Papamika is still in the pits, as well as Stamatis Triantafylou. Oh, Papadopoulos. Slight touch at the wall there. And Mark Harris. I don't know if Mark Harris still has a chance to get back into the 2nd position at least. Dan Blake 2 seconds quicker than Rick Fowler ahead of him, but it's still 3 seconds distance between Blake and Fowler. I don't think he can make it in this last 4 minutes of this very interesting second race. Looks like there's a fight for 8th position between Chris Wilson and Martin Ash. Martin Ash probably the luckiest driver the entire evening after the crash with Chris Bourne. And then somehow he got his car back in the right direction and continued the race, while all the others were spinning out and crashing into each other. I think there will be a lot of discussion after this race because of like things like, couldn't the other drivers maybe hit the brakes earlier, or why are some drivers just didn't slow down, and what else. That's what usually happens if on a long straight a lot of cars are involved in a crash. Well, no, it happened and it's over, so nothing to do, nothing we can do about it anymore. But of course, some frustration by a few drivers in this second race. So will Chris Wilson still have a chance to attack Martin Ash? I think the car of Martin Ash has some slight damage, so maybe Wilson can go a bit faster. Trying to make a move into turn 1. Chris Wilson alongside of Martin Ash. Martin Ash going slow on the outside into the S's. And I think Chris Wilson is through. Yes, he is. Wilson up to 8th. Martin Ash down to 9th position and 2 minutes to go, which means this is the second to last lap. You know, there are Zandruzara and Derek Robb behind them. Derek Robb making move for 10th position against the Maltese driver, and there's Derek Robb on the inside coming up to the outer loop, and he's through. Derek Robb in the top 10. All of a sudden it's getting really comfy for everyone around 10th position. Wilson somehow trying to escape from this group. Derek Robb chasing Martin Ash, going for 9th. Turn number 8, and Derek Robb tried to make an easy pass, locking up there the right front tire for a moment, but he's up to 9th. So Martin Ash in big trouble currently. He might lose another position against Zandruzara on the inside to the second last corner. No, that's it. Martin Ash down to 11th. So Martin Ash just lost 3 positions in 1 lap. Kevin Utley somewhere off track, but he's already moving again. And then not again. Not much he has to be afraid of. He's 4 laps ahead of Darren Boulton, so that shouldn't be a big problem. But who might have a problem in this final lap is Rick Fowler, because he is under attack by Dan Blake. So Blake made it to close the gap against Rick Fowler, but can he make the pass against the driver in this very distinctive purple car? Don't forget, Blake finished in second in race number 1, so he should be a lot faster than Fowler. And he's already attacking Rick Fowler. Dan Blake on the inside. That looks so easy. Oh, Rick Fowler almost losing it. He lost it, crashed into the wall, and Thorsten Berger waves out of his not existing window and thanks him for giving him 6th position. Then there's Chris Wilson coming. And he's also getting a position in the last few moments. No, that's Stamatis Triantafilo actually getting a lap back from Rick Fowler. So Chris Wilson still in 8th behind him. But Matt Powney takes his 2nd victory tonight. Congratulations. He did a very, very good job tonight. And that's his 3rd victory in the Formula 3 Championship. And you can see his donuts. He's very, very happy. Antonis Papagiannopoulos with a 2nd place in this 2nd race. Mark Harris finished in 3rd. Then John Loden with his best result in the season so far. Dan Blake in 5th. Then it's Thorsten Berger in 6th. Rick Fowler in 7th. And I think he's still quite happy about this place. Chris Wilson in 8th. Derek Robb finishes in the top 10 on 9th position. Sandro Zara finally in 10th. Then there's Martin Ash in 11th. Brian Larson only 12th position. I think he will be frustrated because of the crash with Darren Boulton in turn 1. But we couldn't see what happened exactly. So did he crash into Boulton, or did Boulton crash into him, or did something entirely different happen? We don't know. Morten Wells in 13th. Then Cliff Van de Wien only in 14th. And this might cause a lot of tension in the championship. He will be annoyed, but of course it keeps the championship more interesting for us. Nick Curry in 15th, then Darius Seabright finishes in 16th, ahead of Gavin Utley in 17th. Darren Boulton in 18th, Stamatis Triantafilo in 19th, and Nikos Papamikael in 20th position. Chris Bourne left the server very early after the big crash on the back straight in lap number 1. And again, the winner of both races tonight, Matt Powney. And now we will take a short break from this whole event, and then we hopefully will back with some interviews. I can't promise because the drivers tend to avoid my questions, so we'll see. I will keep you informed. We make a short break, and I come back to you very soon. So we are back. Don't worry. We are, of course, from Watkins Glen, but I somehow, well, we missed the picture tonight. I will just help us with this. So I think then everything is fine. Yeah, only one driver here with us for an interview, but it's our double victor for the Watkins Glen tonight. Matt Powney, congratulations, 2 awesome races for you. Yeah, I can hear it. And I think a very, very lucky race for you in number 2 because of the big crash on the back straight. How did you make it through this one?
Unfortunately, I think I caused the first crash. Well, I didn't cause it, but I was involved in the first crash in the first corner. So apologies to Brian for that, because I did tap him, send him flying. But the second crash on the main straight, I kind of seen it happen, and I put my car on the left-hand side, just hoped, and I managed to get through. So yeah, it was a result, and then from there it was pretty straightforward. It's just a nice, easy race.
Yeah, it looked, especially in race 2, it looked quite easy to pass the guys in front of you. But race number 1, you were fighting with Cliff, of course, almost.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Good. I'm
but
Brian.
he ran off right before the last corner, and it looked a bit strange. Did you see what happened? Did you touch him slightly, or did you just lose the car?
No, well, from practice, if you touch the little runoff there, sometimes it can flick you off, and then others it doesn't. So I think he just touched the rumble strips and it just sent him off. But no, I don't think I touched him. No, no.
Okay, so it was because of the track and not of you. So that gave you the chance for the first victory. You got under pressure by Dan Blake in the last few laps. How hard was it actually to take this first victory, or your second victory in the season, but the first victory in Watkins Glen?
Yeah, Dan seems to be really strong at the end of the race. I think he manages his tyres quite well. But yeah, he was holding me right at the end, and I made a couple of mistakes because I'm kind of watching his times, but right at the end, I think I had about half a second lead that was enough. So yeah, it was good.
So there are only 2 winners in this season so far. It's either Cliff or you. So now you have 3 victories on your chart, and Cliff has 5. So I think it will be getting closer in the championship again. Matt,
yeah, I'm coming for you, Cliff. Come in.
Excuse me?
I said I'm coming for Cliff.
Well, did you increase your training a little bit more, that you are getting that fast currently, or what was it? Is Watkins Glen probably a track you like very much?
I'll be honest, this is the first time I've run Watkins Glen on Assetto. When I first logged onto the practice server, I seen Cliff's time, and it was a little bit disheartening, but I've had a little bit more time this week, so I just kept sticking the laps in, thinking if he can do it, I can definitely do it. And then, yeah, the times eventually came. So yeah, it was good. It's good.
Okay, so yeah, we can't talk about the next race because we again don't know which track will show up. Hopefully you will be there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good to know, and we are looking forward to it. Sadly, I made a slight mistake. I think I just sent Thorsten Berger out of our channel, and he now left. I'm very sorry, Thorsten, if you are listening now. I'm very sorry. It was a slight mistake. I just used the wrong mouse button, and it somehow sent you off. He's back in the practice room.
There.
So, well, Matt, congratulations again for the double victory tonight, and I thank you for the interview. And I will just make a short look if Thorsten still wants to give an interview as well. Just give me a second.
Yeah. Thank you, Sebastian, and thank you, XO. Brilliant. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Hello, just short, please. Thorsten, did you want to give an interview as well? Sorry that I sent you off the channel.
My English is not so good, but I will try to.
Yeah, okay.
Go on then. Really started.
Okay, just a second. So there he is, Thorsten Berger.
Hello.
Usually I would start to interview in German, but of course we are with Excite Virtual Motorsports, so I think we should stay with English. Yeah, you got quite lucky, especially in race number 2 with 4th position. So in 4th 2 times this evening, satisfied with the result?
I'm okay with it. It went good for me in the first race. I hoped to get in the first three, but didn't get there in the qualifying. So tried to stay there on my position from the qualifying, and it went well. In the second race, I was very lucky because of the crashes in front of me, and I came past all of the people. After that, I had a little mistake. Came back and finished 4th. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I think there's a chance for you to get further up in the championship now with this result, because some of the faster drivers in front of you really got in trouble. Matt Powney, of course, with a double victory will stay ahead of you. Dan Blake as well, but Cliff with a lot of trouble, and Chris Bourne as well. So you might still looking for 3rd place in the championship. Do you?
Of course, I try to. I will give my best in the next races, and I hope I can get there.
Yeah, Matt Powney already confirmed that we will see him in 2 weeks again. Will you be there as well?
Yes.
That's good to know, because sometimes some drivers told us in the interview that there's something going on and they won't be there for this race. That's why I'm asking. So
hopefully.
Hopefully, of course. So Thorsten Berger, again, congratulations. 4th place 2 times here in Watkins Glen, and thank you for the interview as well.
Thank you, Sebastian. See you.
And that's been it for tonight. We are done with the 4th round of the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship by Excite Virtual Motorsports. We will be back in 2 weeks, and of course we don't know which track it will be. The track draw will be on Wednesday, right before the Friday where the race will be, and until then we don't know which track is waiting for the drivers in 2 weeks. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe check on Excite Virtual Motorsports on Facebook, and then you might get the information which track will be chosen next. I thank you for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, and wish you a good night, good weekend. Bye bye.